Subscribe to Motoroids for the most in-depth and detailed car and bike reviews. Hit that bell icon and you will be notified before everyone else. Hey guys, welcome to Motoroids.com, and as you can already see, we have the new Suzuki Burgman 125 Street with us today. This scooter has been making a lot of waves, and from what we know and what we understand, a lot of interest is there for the scooter because the walk around video that we did for the scooter at Auto Expo got a lot of hits. So here we have the scooter with us and we have ridden it for a fair amount of time, and now we think that we can talk about it and let you know how good or bad the scooter is. So we have to start off first and foremost from the design, which obviously is the biggest talking point of the scooter. And there's no denying the fact that as things stand right now, this has to be the most premium looking scooter in the market right now in its segment, the 125cc segment, where players like the Ntorq and the Grazia reside. And that's primarily because of the fact that the Burgman draws its styling from the Maxi scooter, the international Burgman, which is one of the largest scooters around, and it really has the street cred which is required for a scooter to turn heads. If you're going to ride the scooter on the street right now, it definitely is going to turn heads, and that's something that we observed very evidently today as we rode it through the city streets. Now, while the apron is very nice looking and adds an imposing presence to the scooter's front, it gets LED lights and LED position lamps and these integrated blinkers in the apron. Now, one important thing to notice here is that while all these lights are LEDs, this one is still a bulb, and such is the case with the rear tail light as well, where the main tail light is LED but the blinkers are again bulb. So that's that. The illumination from those LED lights up front is fantastic for an LED, and we think of all the LED lights that we have seen in scooters in this segment, this one has to stand out. This is one of the best. You also get these chrome highlights on the apron, and you also get this fly screen which adds to the premium character of this scooter. Everything has been finished very well, and we really have to give it to Suzuki for having finished this scooter so well. Everything here, since a lot of you ask us this question very often, all of this is fiber, this is not metal. So that's something that I wanted to make clear, since a lot of people ask that question. And talking of build quality, when you look at the finish of certain items like these forks, the wheels, a lot of joints, there are absolutely no rough edges. The quality of the plastic itself and the way it has been put together is absolutely fantastic. And if I really have to name one scooter which is the best built in this segment at this point in time, it has to be the Burgman. I really think that the finish on this one is exceptional, and I really like what I see here. Now, coming towards the rear, you get this exhaust which is two-tone with this satin silver kind of a finish at the end and a matte black kind of treatment on the canister. This is essentially a heat shield, and if you look at the footrest as well, it's finished in aluminum, which is the case with the Ntorq as well as the Grazia as well, but the Ntorq's rear foot peg is the best of the lot. However, this one is pretty good as well. The grab rail, if you have a look, is finished in black, and it's quite big and looks very nice and adds to the size of the scooter. It's very wide and big, and it's very comfortable to hold as well while you're sitting on the pillion seat. Another important thing that you'll notice is that the seat, which by the way is very long and comfortable, and I realize that it's a very comfortable seat, and I'll talk about the seat height as well in a bit, but the seat by itself is very comfortable, and it gets this contrasting red stitch which further adds to the sporty character of the scooter. The only odd looking part with this scooter is the fact that the wheels somehow look slightly disproportionate as compared to the size of the rest of the scooter. The front is a 12-incher, the rear is a 10-incher, and they are shot with MRF zappers. I really believe that a size bigger on wheels and a slightly fatter rubber would have lent this scooter the much needed girth at the bottom as well. It looks like the Burgman has missed a leg day at the gym. While the scooter looks fantastic, that's one part that doesn't go well with the overall proportions of the scooter. And I really believe that while some people are very critical of it, despite those smaller wheels, the scooter looks very nice when you look at it from the profile or from the front. It's only when you look at it from the rear that the size of the wheels and the skinniness of them becomes very evident. This still has the most amount of street presence of all the scooters in this segment. Looking at the scooter from a rider's perspective, first and foremost, an aspect that a lot of you are interested in is the seat height, and the saddle height on the Burgman is 780 mm, which is not very high, and as you can see, being 5'10", I can very easily plant both my heels into the ground, and I can in fact tilt the scooter as well. So the seat height is not much, and this scooter should suit the members of the fairer sex as well, since it's not very tall, and even riders with a shorter height can ride it without any problem. If you look at the footboard here, this is probably the only scooter in this segment which offers you the convenience of resting your feet here, and this is usable when you're riding long distance, and also it's helpful if you're braking hard so you don't slide forward. So that's an interesting addition, and full marks to Suzuki for having incorporated that little bit, which makes the footboard even more usable and a bit more comfortable. From the rider's perspective, what you'll also see is that there's a huge cubby hole here which can easily swallow a big 1 liter bottle without any problem, and you also have a small space here which comes with a 12 volt power supply as standard, and this can also be fitted with a USB socket at an extra price. What we believe is that this section should have been lockable, so that if you're putting something here, nobody should be able to open the compartment and have a look at what's there. Then you have this hook here which you can use to tie bags, and you also have another hook here. So from a utility perspective also, Suzuki have tried to address the needs of the Indian customer, and that's something very, very appreciable. I really like that. And apart from that, the key slot here is multifunction. So as you can see, when you just turn the key left, it will open the seat, and if you push and put it here, it will lock the handle. And apart from that, once you insert the key and you turn it gently towards the right, it will turn the ignition on. If you have turned the engine off and you have locked the handlebar of the scooter like so, you can just press this button, and this metallic curtain would cover the key slot and nobody can fiddle with it. And if you want to open it, you just have to use the back of the key and insert it like this and turn it, and the access will again be there. So that's how you use this multifunction key console. And let me just show you how big or small the boot space is as well. You have 21.5 liters of space, and I have a helmet, and I've used a full face helmet and tried to put it inside. It doesn't swallow a full face helmet, and none of the scooters in this segment do. Actually, this one has one of the largest amount of space in this segment, 21.5 liters, and only the Ntorq with 22 liters has 0.5 liters more, but this is also pretty large and very useful. You get a toolbox here, and there's a medic aid. However, there is no light here, and I think that's a bit of an omission. There should have been an illumination point under the storage. The fuel cap is opened by twisting it, and you obviously have to get off the seat to get access to the fuel filler cap. So there is no external fuel filler cap, which is again an omission. However, at 5.6 liters, the fuel carrying capacity of this scooter is pretty good, and with an ARAI certified fuel efficiency figure of 53.5 kilometers to the liter, it's pretty fuel efficient too. And going by that fuel efficiency figure, you should be able to get a range of around a little less than 300 kilometers, which is pretty good for a scooter. Comparing it with the XS, which is its sibling, the fuel efficiency is slightly on the lower side, and the XS delivers in excess of 61 kilometers to the liter, and since this is about 6 kg heavier, the fuel efficiency is a little less as well. However, this is par for class, I think, and XS is one of the most fuel efficient scooters in the 125cc segment as well. So I think the fuel efficiency on this one is not going to disappoint you. In any case, you should be able to get over 45 kilometers to the liter if you ride it with a light right wrist, and the fuel efficiency, although not the best in the segment, is not bad either, and 45 is something that you should expect from this scooter. Coming to the instrument console, you have a very simple fully digital instrument console here with 2 trip meters, A and B, and 1 auto obviously, and you have a clock here with a fuel gauge and speed indicator, and you have these telltale lights indicating left and right turn and a high beam, and this adjuster is whenever you want to reset the trip meters, and you can do that very easily by just long pressing this button. So that's how you operate this instrument console. This is pretty minimalistic but still all digital, so that's something which is new for any Suzuki scooter in India and very, very appreciable. The handlebar falls pretty easy to the hand, and I really like the way this scooter feels once you get on board. It's very friendly. You can ride this scooter very easily. Although the handlebar looks a little different, it feels very comfortable on the go, and I quite like the way this wide handlebar feels when you ride the scooter hard as well, because the chassis is very good. And we'll talk about the performance of the Burgman in a bit. Talking still about the handlebar, these mirrors are very functional and wide enough to give you a good view of what's coming from behind, and I quite like them and found them very useful. As the case is with the front seat, the rear seat also has a lot of space. It's a very wide and a very long seat, and I really like the comfort that the Burgman has to offer. Its dimensions and size really translate into a lot of space for the rider as well as the pillion. And if you're someone who's going to ride with a pillion, just like the XS, this is also going to be very, very comfortable. The seat here is slightly on the firmer side, and quite a few of you may not like it, but I personally think that slightly firmer setting for the seat is good for long distance comfort, as your behind doesn't completely sink into it. And I really think that the quality of this seat is one of the best in the segment, and I quite appreciate it. Now this is the 125cc segment, and this is a step above your 110cc segment scooters, and the performance has to be there. The XS always has had fantastic performance, and in terms of performance, the Burgman also doesn't disappoint. The engine is also very refined, and throughout its rev range, I don't really feel any judder or any vibrations which are worth a bother. So in terms of refinement and in terms of the rev happy nature of the engine, I think like all Suzukis, this engine also is par with the class and a lot better than a lot of other scooters in the segment. The power and torque figures are pretty much the same as the XS. It delivers 9.5 PS of peak power and 10.2 Newton meters of torque, which is not class leading. That accolade goes to the N-Torque, which is the benchmark for performance in this segment. Also in terms of features like the wheels, the instrument console and a lot of other things, the N-Torque has an edge. However, in terms of looks, I think the Burgman scores, and in terms of performance, this one is as good as the Suzuki Axis, and it can do genuine 90 kilometers per hour top speed. The acceleration is very brisk right from the moment you give it a twist from the standstill. And I think in terms of stability, in terms of handling, braking, all of that very, very well sorted. No rattles, no squeaks, and it gives you a lot of confidence even if you are inching closer to the 100 kilometers per hour mark. So in terms of handling, I don't really have any complaints whatsoever. The front disc brakes are also pretty good in doing their job, and you would not have anything to complain about. So handling, performance, this is not the benchmark for the class, but very, very dependable handling. Very good stability at high speeds. The suspension, I believe, is slightly on the firmer side. Settles down very well when you have two riders aboard. Although for a single rider, I think it could have been slightly on the softer side, but I'm not complaining. It's good, but it's not the best. And I think the ride quality with that rear hydraulic suspension could have done with a bit more cushioniness for day-to-day comfort. But I really think that this scooter is very, very well built. I think the performance, the way it looks, the way it's been built, if you really talk about the features, generally the LED lights and the fully digital instrument console, this nice looking exhaust, it looks premium, it looks a lot different from other scooters in this segment. I think that if you really have to compare it with the other scooters in terms of visuals, if you're someone who likes to look good while being on a scooter, this is the absolute standout package. And if you want to get noticed while riding a scooter, I think this is the best option you have within this segment at this point in time. Obviously you have the Aprilia, which is even more expensive. This one is 68,000 rupees ex-showroom Delhi, which is about 8,000 rupees more as compared to the N-Torque, and about 8,000 rupees more as compared to its own sibling, which is the XS, the disc variant. So this scooter is expensive, but trust me, when you look at the scooter in the flesh, when you take a test drive and when you feel it, touch it, and you realize the size of it, you really think that this scooter is worth that extra price. If you want a scooter which makes your presence felt, the Burgman really stands true to its Maxi scooter origins very, very well. And from a pure visual perspective, I think this scooter right now has to be the king of the segment. For everything else, you have the N-Torque, be it performance, be it the features, or be it sheer value for money. So that's that, guys. I hope this review was of use to you. I hope that I was able to answer all your questions. If I have not been able to do so, kindly ask the questions in the comment section below. I'll be very happy to answer all your questions. And if you like the video, do hit the like button, subscribe to Motoroids, and until next time, this is Amit Shangani signing off. Rev hard, rev free, and ride safe.